Hello, and welcome to the Little Phonery. I'm James. Just before I get started, in the interest of full disclosure, this isn't the first attempt that I've made, that I've had at making a video for YouTube or for our Facebook page. But actually, the last one was really interesting. Well, I thought it was a really interesting repair, and the interesting thing was that actually nobody else had done it on YouTube. So I was really excited. Our first video, and our first video was going to be something that nobody else had done. It was going to be a real first. The microphone went potty after about 7 minutes into the video. So all you got was static. So I'm trying to rescue that. So welcome to the first Little Phonery video that's actually going to make it anywhere. We're receiving a lot of stuff by post. And we have done since we were featured on a BBC consumer programme some time ago, and that consumer programme keeps on being repeated. Obviously, at the moment, there's not a huge amount of new television being made right now. I wish that I had had a shave before this, because you can see where I'm clearly, my MPB, my male pattern baldness. Look, right, anyway, look, let's get to this, because I want to show you this, because this is a really, really... I think, my theory is, I haven't actually done any testing with this. This is an iPhone 6S, and it's from a customer in North Yorkshire. So we're based in Newcastle. We get work from as far afield as Gibraltar, believe it or not. We get stuff sent to us from all over the world. Anyway, this says, I would be grateful if you could take a look at this iPhone 6S. The screen just went black the other day, although the phone continued to play music fine for some considerable time afterwards. It still makes noise when we plug it into charge too, but of course I can't tell if it's on or off at the time of sending it to you. So maybe flat. I did try the various button combinations to force a restart, but I couldn't ever see anything pop up on the screen. Before this happened, my daughter said the fingerprint sensor hadn't worked for some time. But that's not a priority to fix unless it's related or inexpensive. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for the detailed description. I've got a feeling I know what this is going to be. So, first things first, I'm going to unplug my phone. And I'm going to take you on a ride over to my overview. So let's see if we can see this, because I've got a feeling if this is what I think... Ah, there. Don't know if you can see the outline of an apple just there. So we've got a phone that's started charging. It started charging low amps. Amps are building to 1 amp, so now it's booting. And it's not going back down, so I don't think we've got a short. Oh, maybe? That's interesting. Let's look at first things first, because here is the problem. The iPhone 6S and the 6S Plus, and the 7 for that matter, have a common backlight issue. And the repair is a micro soldering job, so I thought you'd be interested to see it. Because I think a lot of people know that we do screens, and we do charge ports, and we do batteries, and we do all that stuff, because we can literally just rock up in the car and do a lot of those jobs outside your house if you're in certain parts of the northeast, or you can post stuff to us. We're still a hell of a lot cheaper than the manufacturers, but we use original equipment manufacturer parts. Now, before you go and do anything, I want you to know, if you can see our phone number on my back here, don't phone it. We are so busy, we've had to switch the work mobile off. We've had to deactivate it. In one day in August, we got like 97 phone calls, and 40 of those were from people very kindly saying, seen you on telly. And it was lovely, but we got to a point where we were answering the phone so much we don't actually have time to work. So yeah, unfortunately now, if you want to contact us, it's thelittlephonery.com. The facebook.com / the Little Phonery Limited. You can message us directly on there, or you can email us at thelittlephonery@outlook.com. Let's take this to pieces, and I'm going to use a new toy. I'm going to use a new toy that's been given to us by a friend of mine at a local IT business called Genius Computing. They're based on Great Park. This is a Wow Stick, and it just makes life a little bit easier. I use this mostly just for mostly just taking the screens off the iPhone 10s and 10, 11 and 12 series, because those screws for some reason just mash really easily. They're an absolute pain in the bum. So this doesn't feel like it's been opened before. So that's actually quite interesting, because we'll soon see. The most common reason for the backlight filter, for the backlight to fail on the 6S, is when this is not a genuine screen. It is a genuine screen. That's really odd. Right, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know how long you were without audio for, but I realised that the battery and my mic are gone. This just eats batteries. But right, let's get back to this. So, don't know if you heard that, but what I'm going to do is I am going to first off eliminate the possibility that this screen has developed a fault. I've got a feeling that it will most likely be filter. This phone has been wet. This phone sadly, this phone is water damaged, which may explain something. It looks relatively recent too. So let's just, first things first, let's make sure that I'm not about to do quite a major job on the motherboard of the phone for the sake of a screen replacement. I mean, if it is a screen replacement, great. And it wouldn't be at all again, we're just getting the Apple logo, but because there's no backlight, no, nothing. This phone has, I think, popped its backlight filter. Really, really common issue. The most common reason for this to happen at the moment is people trying to do their own screen repairs from like YouTube videos. Or when like what's happening a lot at the moment, and it's understandable because there are a lot of people that are desperate to make extra money, and it's sad but true. they're desperate to make extra money, and again, they're kind of watching YouTube videos and thinking, well, I can do that, you know. So they're buying cheap screens off eBay and getting their neighbours and mates to give them phones to repair. But they miss steps out, and they cause issues like this, and unfortunately, because they don't have a small laboratory at home, chances are they don't know how to rectify the issue. So what I'm doing now is I'm just moving anything delicate out of the way, because we're going to be using, well, we may use hot air. I don't know yet. Right, let's get this under the microscope. That's the battery, and here is where I suspect that looks hammered. I think I've actually seen this before. I've dealt with this phone before. Right. Okay. So there is a filter there that is really quite clearly blown, I would say, from visual inspection anyway. Get my ultra fine tweezers for ultra fine tweezer work. That has still got moisture underneath it. I can actually see water squelching out from under this. So, preset of 380. Now, normally, so I'm using hot air. And that's off. I am going to see this. This is so wet. Can you see this? There's water. I need to dry this out. Right. Obviously, I don't think the gentleman that sent this to me was aware that this has been submerged, and I'm really, really glad that I'm recording this, because it's actually a. The problem is there are a lot of repairers who, when they can't repair something, will just send it back and say it's water damaged. And the amount of stuff that we get sent to us that clearly isn't water damaged, and actually the repairs are quite simple, then we get other stuff that's sent to us, and they could swear that there's never been anywhere near water, but the thing is clearly full of water, and the water markers have gone off. Look. See, little red mark there? That water mark has gone off. Now, I don't believe the last time I saw this phone that was the case. And what I'm seeing here is clearly You know, I'll get you back under the microscope. But that's wet. That is absolutely wet. There is water squishing out of here. So what I'm going to have to do... I mean, it's quite remarkable that it's still... Oh, I hate this stuff. I really don't know why they started putting this on. Horrible, horrible stuff. It doesn't really serve much of a purpose. Apart from to get in the way of people like me. Okay, so let's get some of this mank out, because there may be a few bits and bobs that need replacing here. I'm not too sure. In fact, let's test some of these components. Let's get the old multimeter. That is good. Okay, not too sure about them, but we're going to have to start where we are. Can you actually see the water squishing out from under that? Oh, this has been properly dunked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this out. I am going to have to give this an alcohol bath. And then I'm going to have to sit it on the hot plate for a while. And I will pause the video here and I'll come back when this is dry. So I'm just going to show you this because I've got the motherboard out. It doesn't take long to do. But I'm now lifting the covers on the back of the motherboard, where quite clearly there's the water has gone through this entire phone. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do have some other issues to solve here. There's a rule, really, that if your phone's been wet, you don't want to plug it in. And of course, not only is it clearly been plugged in by the young lady that owns it, it's been plugged in by her dad, and then because I didn't know it was water damaged, it's been plugged in by me. So what I'm doing now is I'm using alcohol. This is isopropyl. It's laboratory grade, so it's 99.9% pure, which is about as pure as you can get. And the great thing about this is that when it dries, it leaves no residue at all, but it also tends to dispel any water or moisture that it comes into contact with. So what I'm doing is I'm flooding the board with it. And then I am going to put it on my heat plate for probably about 30 minutes to an hour. And I'm going to let that blast all of the moisture out of this board, and then we're going to come back to it and we're going to replace that backlight filter and see what, if anything, else needs doing. I won't be long. Okay, so we've done an alcohol bath, we've given it a good clean, we've put it on a heat plate for a while, and hopefully we are nice and dry. Let's just give it a prod and see if anything comes out from under this pad again, because that was... Yeah, there is still some moisture under there. This is going to take quite a bit longer, folks. I'll be back soon. Okay, so I have just put aside different job. So I have been and just basically had a bit of lunch whilst waiting for this to dry out effectively. Pardon me. So let's see what we've got. Hopefully this is all dry. Let's... So we have... Oh. Still moisture under there. I'm going to have to... Ay. Give me a break. Right, what I'm going to do is, because this has got to move on now. So, I am going to remove... the existing solder pads. They're a bit clunky anyway, they're from the last repair, but of course you can't expect these repairs to survive water damage as well. So I'm just using some stuff called Captan tape, and it will help protect the plastic on the screen connectors above and below. We have got... So what I'm going to do is I may not actually remove the solder as such. Can I get in there? But if I can heat it to melting point, and that should help sort of get any of the moisture out from underneath the pads. Just reseal them to the board. I mean, I don't think... You see that this is how small it is. I mean, this is not... So let's use some... Oh my. Let this be a lesson to you kids. be honest with your parents. Sorry, I'm just going to switch my extraction fan on because obviously solar fumes are not nice. They're not good for you. Now, hopefully, this will solve the backlight issue. But then we're going to have a look around and see if anything else is wrong. So apparently, the Touch ID stopped working quite some time ago. Quite some time ago, so I'm told. But I've got a funny feeling that this may all be related. So, luckily, because this is such a common issue, I just happen to have hundreds of these filters. Let me show you in comparison to my finger. That's the size that we're at. This is, you know, it's not magnetic. I need one of them. I think this should be. And if it is, I should just be able to pop it out. No. Of course not. Right, so we're just going to have to tip and hope. There we go. Well, fired it off somewhere. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's just get another one. Oh no, it's behind you. Is it? Sure, I can't be sure if that's the new one or the old one, so I'm just going to get a fresh one. You end up with so many of these things flying around the workshop. So what was I saying? Yeah, let this be a lesson to you kids. You can say that your phone stopped working overnight, but I'm pretty sure that at some point your parents are going to find out that that it stopped working overnight because at some point, there we go, it had been down a toilet. Which so we're just going to pop you in there. And if you don't tell your parents that it's been down the toilet, they will be even more upset when they find out that it has. So I'm just going to hold this in place. No, I may need to have, let's go for higher temperature and higher fan speed. I am using my brand new heat gun. And I'm still just getting used to it. Right. So that's on. That's nice and tidy. We haven't melted the connectors. I am a little bit probably mildly concerned about some of these components around here. Just get this nasty stuff off. Oh. Is that a jumper wire? How interesting. I wonder if this is in inverted commas, refurbished phone in the first place. If it is, we may well find out that there's a whole can of worms to be opened here. But anyway, the important thing is right now that our repair is good. That looks nice. So. Let's just sort of just temporarily put this all back into place. And we may or may not have a whole heap of other stuff to take care of, but we will soon find out. I hope not. Really, really, really hope that this is it. Help if I plug that in. That'll be the sleep wake button, or the on off button, depending on what you want to call it. If that's not plugged in, we're not getting very far, are we? I'll be sat there pressing the button. Oh, look at that. Let me just make sure that I don't show you any picture. Anything that might identify this phone? Nope, there we go. So you can't see anything. We have full backlight, we've got full touch, we have what looks like a fully functioning phone. And at the moment, the battery looks okay, but there's one thing that I want to test, because a very, 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 very common issue for the 6S after it has been water damaged is that the TriStar chip fails. And the way that we're going to test that is we're going to see how much electricity, or how many amps really, are going from the battery, going from the charge port to the battery. We're going to do that by throwing the phone across the table. Note that's actually not part of the plan. So we are going to plug you in without the battery connected. We are going to pop. We're going to switch our multimeter to volts. We are going to... Oh, that looks good. 3.76. So yeah, actually that would make sense, because there's no battery attached. It's going to go in loops. It's going to try to boot, and then it's going to realize that it can't boot, and it's going to drop back down to 0, and it's going to start again. So that is now behaving absolutely normally. I am very pleased to say this phone, certainly on the surface, seems good. But a lesson to all kids, particularly if you rely on your parents to pay for your phones and your phone repairs. If you have dunked your phone in water, don't just tell your parents that it switched itself off overnight. You need to be honest with them, because someone like me comes along and actually videos a repair. So, yeah. Let's get this put back together, send back to the customer, who I'm sure will be overjoyed to know that it's working. If you have any backlight issues with a 6S or a 6S Plus or a 7 range, anything like that, give us a shout. It's something that we can do. Very often it's actually quite a simple fix if you have the right equipment. So it's been really good seeing you. I'm sorry if this was a really busy and up and down video, but you know, you run into things that you're not expecting sometimes. So thank you very much for your patience. Hope you enjoyed, and other than that, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.